So I don't do many cooler reviews on this channel, but when I saw this one, I was just interested myself because it looks a little bit different than any other cooler I have personally seen. And I was just curious, how well does it actually work? What does it do? Is it good? Well, in this video, we're going to be talking about this. So this is called the BeQuiet Dark Rock TF2. So here's some of the specs of this. 230 watts rated TDP cooling, 6 heat pipes, 2 towers, 2 fans, comes with thermal paste for up to 2 applications, super quiet operation of 27.1 dB at 100% of fan speeds, and it costs $85 roughly in the US, 85 euros or 79 pounds MSRP. So how does it work? Let's take a motherboard out and I'll show you how does this one work. So in here we've got the awesome motherboard for the creators, Asus ProArt X570 Creator Wi-Fi board. It's got absolutely all the bells and whistles, but we're using this as a demonstration because you can use it in quite a lot of different motherboards. You might be wondering, like, which way should you be like putting this on the actual motherboard? And the recommended way how you should be mounting this is like this. So basically that the BeQuiet logo on this side, if you can see over here, it would be towards the RAM slots. Now it depends on your motherboard because I was actually using the ROG Maximus, I'll show you, this one here. ROG Maximus Hero 13 board, Z590 board. And then this one has a little bit of a different design because I think the RAM slots are, yeah, I can see the RAM slots are closer to the socket, which means that I couldn't mount it over there because these heat pipes were actually like over the first RAM slot over here, which meant I couldn't really use it. So what I had to do was I had to mount it this way where the heat pipes are down or heat pipes are up, it doesn't matter which way. And then that way, like my bottom tower over here was literally against the first RAM slot over here. And I wasn't actually using very thick RAM. I was using the Team Group Darkset Alpha T-Force RAM sticks, which are actually very, very slim. So there wasn't like anything extra. So just before you mount this, maybe do a double check on your motherboard that you can actually mount this. But over there, like all the heat sinks over here as well were a bit closer to the socket and it just did not fit there as well as on this motherboard. So inside the box you have all sorts of mounting accessories like usual with a cooler, but also 2 fans. So if you look at the fans over here, you can see that this one over here has 7 blades and the one on my right has 9 blades. And the one with 9 blades is a little bit faster spinning fan than the one with 7 blades. The 9 blades goes on the bottom of the tower and the 9 blades goes on the top of the tower. So one of those fans will be mounted in the middle of this cooler and then one of them on the top, but both of them will be pushing the air down. So what happens is the air inside the case will come here and they will push it through this first heatsink and then the second heatsink, and then it will be pushed down here and then it kind of goes all the way around over here. Why this is really good and sometimes better than some of the AIOs is that this will actually put airflow to some of the motherboard components over here. The heat sinks and even the RAM slots and some of the other things, even maybe this first Ender 2 slot over here. So it's really good for the motherboard to have airflow down there. It keeps it a little bit cooler over there. And I was super impressed with the actual noise performance. Even 100% of the speed, it does it such a good job. So you might be wondering which CPUs is this cooler compatible with, or which CPUs you should be using this with the rated 230 watt TDP. Now I tested it with the i5 11600K and 11900K. Now the 11900K is very power hungry and it pulls up to 290 watts from the socket, and 95% of the time it was even 5 on the i9 11900K. But if you're doing a lot of complex renders, a lot of like CPU utilization, all of them at once, then maybe it's not the best cooler for the i9 11900K. But regardless, for i7s and i5s, you'll be fine with this. It's very powerful cooler and air cooler. Also, when we're talking about Ryzen system, the Ryzen systems run cooler and use less power, so any of the Ryzen systems you will be fine with. And I would be even comfortable at using this if you have a smaller case and you want to use the Ryzen 5950X, which is a 16 core processor. I think you should still be fine with this cooler. Unless you're doing very long renders and your case doesn't have a very good airflow, then you might be struggling. But because of this two tower design and how it's flat over here, the actual height of the cooler from the motherboard isn't so far, which means that you can use it in smaller cases. So if you want to have like an MITX or ITX builds, some of them you need just a smaller cooler, which this is perfect for. Now, some of the downsides of the cooler, one of them I mentioned before, because it's quite big on the bottom over here and it might not fit on all of the motherboards. So if you're using like this motherboard, I would not use this cooler because it's not like ideal for that setup, but I still managed to get it working, but it's not an ideal situation. Another downside is that this contact plate over here, which should be polished completely nice and mirror, I had quite a few of like dents inside here. You can see on one of these macro shots, you can see these dents over there, which isn't a big deal really, but it kind of is at the same time, because the worse the contact is with the CPU, which means like any dents and things in there just lose the cooling performance over there. And I was a little bit disappointed over there. I don't know if that affects the cooling performance, maybe in some cases somewhere. It's just something that isn't perfect. And another thing I'd like to mention is that this cooler does not come with a screwdriver, but you need quite a long screwdriver to actually get this cooler mounted, because you have to go through here, and as you can see, now I'll reach there. If you have like one of those iFixit like screwdrivers, you're not gonna get this in there unless you use the extension bit, if you have the extension bit on your screwdriver set. In conclusion, I'm quite liking the cooler because how cool it is, how quiet it is, and how well it performs. And it actually looks quite a different design if you're just sick of AIOs or like the tower coolers that go from left to right on there, and you like to see a fan over there. It's quite a different cooler design, and if you want to keep your RAM sticks a bit cooler, this is very good cooler for that. Likes if you enjoyed it, subs if you'd like to see more, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm gonna leave the link for this in the description if you're interested. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.